You had a great time. You genuinely liked the people. The food was good. The conversation was interesting. And nobody said anything that made you want to leave early. You chose to be there and you're glad you went. And now you feel like you've run a marathon. Your brain is foggy. Your body is heavy. And the idea of speaking to another human being feels physically impossible. You're not sad. You're not anxious. You're just drained. Here's what's actually going on. Think about the last time you came home from a perfectly pleasant social event and felt completely emptied out. Not emotionally hurt, just exhausted. Like your brain had been doing heavy lifting for hours and only now was admitting it. Most explanations stop at one word: introversion. Introverts get tired around people. Extroverts get energized. That's the popular model, and it's not entirely wrong, but it's not nearly the whole story. Because the fatigue you feel after socializing isn't just about where you fall on a personality scale. It's the result of at least 3 separate biological systems, all running simultaneously, all consuming real energy, and all doing exactly what they were built to do. The first system is neurochemical. Personality neuroscientist Colin DeYoung at the University of Minnesota has proposed that the core function of the dopamine system is to promote exploration, and that extroversion reflects how active your dopaminergic reward system is. Research from Cornell University found that extroverts show stronger dopamine-facilitated responses to reward cues in their environment. Their brains are more robustly activated by the possibility of social reward. A good conversation, a new connection, the energy of a room. Introverts showed little to no evidence of this same conditioning response. This doesn't mean introverts don't enjoy socializing. It means their dopamine system isn't getting the same boost from it. Combined with higher baseline cortical arousal, findings supported by decades of research following Eysenck's arousal theory, introverts reach overstimulation faster. Think of it like a battery with a different charging system. The socket is the same. The party, the dinner, the meeting. But one battery charges from it while the other slowly drains. But dopamine is only the first layer. The second is cognitive. And this one applies to everyone. Every social interaction is a cognitive event. You're tracking facial expressions, interpreting tone of voice, predicting what the other person will say next, calibrating your own response, monitoring whether you're being understood, adjusting your body language. All of it simultaneously, all of it unconsciously. The brain regions that handle this, the medial prefrontal cortex, the temporoparietal junction, the anterior cingulate cortex, are among the most metabolically expensive regions in the entire brain. Social processing isn't light work. It's some of the heaviest. Computational lifting your brain does, and it scales with complexity. A one-on-one conversation with a close friend uses fewer resources than a dinner party with 8 people you don't know well. Meeting new people, navigating group dynamics, performing in professional settings. Each one increases the cognitive load. And then there's the third layer. The one most people don't name, but everyone has felt. Emotional labor. Sociologist Arlie Hochschild coined the term to describe the effort of managing your emotional presentation. Displaying the right feelings at the right time, regardless of what you're actually experiencing inside. Research has consistently linked this kind of surface acting, showing emotions you don't genuinely feel, to emotional exhaustion and burnout. And this isn't limited to the workplace. Every social interaction involves some degree of impression management. You modulate your enthusiasm, suppress your irritation, perform interest in topics you don't care about, and calibrate how much of yourself to reveal, all while making it look effortless. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You ask follow-up questions about stories you've already stopped listening to. You hold your face in an expression of interest while your mind is calculating when you can leave without seeming rude. None of this is dishonest. It's what social cohesion requires. But it isn't free. Every managed expression, Every suppressed reaction, every performed emotion draws from the same limited pool of self-regulatory energy. And after 2 or 3 hours of sustained performance, that pool runs low. The energy that costs doesn't show up on a brain scan, but it shows up when you close the door and realize you have nothing left. So here's where the research challenges the popular understanding. If social fatigue were purely an introvert phenomenon, a consequence of personality wiring, you'd expect extroverts to be immune. But they're not. A study from the University of Helsinki tracked people's behavior and energy levels 5 times a day for 12 consecutive days. The researchers found that sociable, talkative behavior predicted increased fatigue approximately 3 hours later, and this effect held regardless of whether the person scored as introverted or extroverted on personality measures. The researchers found no significant individual differences in how tiring sociable behavior was. The fatigue hit everyone. That finding was later replicated with a larger sample and a more rigorous design. The pattern held: sociable behavior is related to later fatigue, and this relationship was not reducible to personality traits, earlier tiredness, or concurrent activity. The lead researcher noted that while previous work had found a link between sociable behavior and positive mood, no one had looked at what happened hours later, when the mood boost had faded and the biological bill came due. So if everyone gets tired, what actually differs between introverts and extroverts? Research from Ghent University offers an answer. When introverts behave in extroverted ways, being more sociable and talkative than their default, they experience an immediate boost in energy and mood. But approximately 1 hour later, that boost reverses and they report depleted vitality. Extroverts engaging in the same behavior showed no such delayed cost. For them, being sociable is running at cruising speed. For introverts, it's running above it, and the debt comes due later. This suggests that the exhaustion introverts feel isn't a character flaw or a sign that they dislike people. It's the neurological cost of operating above their natural resting state for an extended period. The social interaction itself may have been genuinely enjoyable, but the biological invoice doesn't care whether you had fun. Here's what the research actually shows. Feeling drained after socializing isn't a personality defect or a sign. You're doing something wrong. It's the predictable result of a brain that has been running 3 parallel systems: dopamine-mediated reward processing, high-load cognitive monitoring, and continuous emotional management. For the duration of a social interaction, the distinction that matters isn't between people who love socializing and people who can't handle it. Almost everyone who reports post-social fatigue also reports enjoying the interaction. The distinction is between the experience and the cost is biological, not psychological. You don't get tired because you're broken. You get tired because you were present, because your brain was doing exactly what millions of years of evolution built it to do. Reading faces, tracking status, maintaining alliances, managing impressions, and doing all of it at once for hours. Knowing this won't give you more energy at the next dinner party, but it might change the way you interpret the exhaustion afterward. That tiredness isn't failure, it's a receipt. It's your brain's honest accounting of what it just spent to keep you present, attuned, and socially coherent in a complex environment. And in a culture that often treats wanting to be alone after being with people as something to apologize for, understanding the neuroscience might reframe the closed door and the quiet couch as exactly what they are: not escape, but restoration. This is part of a larger pattern in how modern life demands constant social performance without acknowledging the biological cost. And what happens when people mistake the need for recovery as a personal failing? This is the human frame, facts first, context always. If this changed how you see something, subscribe. We'll keep going.